Hi everyone, I'm Shira and I'm here with Kim and Taris. Unfortunately, Lee and Juji could not be with us today. We are five friends, speakers, and professionals who come from different cultures, backgrounds, and age groups. We come together to offer healing and inspiration. So, do you ever wonder why the words gratitude and attitude rhyme? Interestingly, these two concepts need to align in order for us to tap into its power. Because here's the thing. Everybody talks about gratitude like it's some kind of cure-all or solution to our problems. It's like the phrase du jour. But the truth is that gratitude is a practice. And like many practices, doesn't always come easy. So girls, when on your journey do you remember starting to cultivate being grateful? Who wants to start us off?
I'll start. You know, I think most of my life I've had I've always looked at things positively for the most part. I've always leaned towards the positive, and I got that from my dad. My dad always said, if that's all the problems you got in life, you've got no problems. So I always kind of leaned towards looking at the positive side of things. And I know I know there's a difference there of being positive out in the world and feeling gratitude for something. But there is a similarity in those two things. So, you know, growing up with that extra layer of positivity, I think I always kind of naturally was grateful for things, but it was on such a deep cellular level that I didn't know I was practicing gratitude until it was made very clear to me in my 30s. I started to go through a very difficult healing journey with my skin. As you guys know, I have psoriasis, and I'm on that journey with that disease. And in my 30s, I started to read a lot of books by Wayne Dyer, and he's passed away, but he was such a wise man and very spiritual, and he talked a lot about gratitude. And I just found that his words really captivated me because they made me just go inside and look at how grateful I am for things, how often I am not grateful, how often I will complain about things or even be thinking negatively about things in my life, like always kind of wanting more instead of just appreciating what I have right now. So he really planted that seed in me, and I just started reading more and more of his books, and then I started to watch his videos, and not just him, just tons of people out there in that spiritual self-help world,
Yeah.
like Abraham Hicks and people like that. And so it just brought it to light for me. So I think in my life I've always sort of naturally, veered towards this more grateful place. But it wasn't until my 30s that I really, I mean, even today, I'm even grateful for my psoriasis because of how much it's taught me. And the fact that I can say that today, I never, in the 20 something years I've had it, have never been able to talk like that about it. And only now that I've been really practicing looking for the good in my life, can I say that?
Yeah, it sounds interesting. It sounds like there's the knowing about gratitude and then there's the feeling of the gratitude, like when it really
Yes.
gets into your skin. Skin.
Yes.
How about you, T?
Um, so, geez, I don't even know because again, I feel like I'm always up and down with life, with everything. So I feel like early on I lived with such sadness that I had to go through that and live with that. That I think I just got so sick of it that I just needed to turn it around and be like, you need to change your attitude. You need to be grateful because, there was a small part in my life where I did have like the woe's me attitude. Like, oh my God, this person died. Oh my God, this person died. Oh my God. Like, oh my God, poor me, poor me, poor me. And then like, that's not a fun way to live. And you know what, like feeling sorry for yourself or other people feeling sorry for you. It just like, it's kind of like a burden on your brain. So I think for me, prayer is always, a focus in my life. And I think just always asking for answers and always leaning on God. And then just like picking up self-help books and like powerful books that were like soul searching. I know the power of now, like literally changed my life. So I think like by just having that power of prayer and reading really inspirational stuff and just like being on a search for getting my mindset different, I think that's where I really started to become just grateful that I had a higher power with me.
And when was that, Taris? Like,
This is, I don't even know. I would probably say in my 20s, like my mid 20s is like really when it burst. I mean, because my whole life it was up and down, up and down. Because again, like Kim, you know, I always brought the positive attitude to the table most of the time. So I think, yeah, really the shift, right? Because there's always a big, huge shift.
yeah,
I think the big, huge shift for me was probably in my mid 20s.
yeah,
Maybe my late, you know what? Probably my late 20s.
yeah. I just thought of a really interesting example of gratitude, because the thing is, we all know it's so easy to be grateful when things are going your way and you get a new blah blah blah, or like whatever it is, you know. But I remember having a big shift. I mean, the shift hit the fan, folks, when I read a quote. You guys know quotes are like a big thing for me, but somehow I read this quote and it was like somebody like threw a tomahawk in my head. That was like the awakening that I had, because we've had episodes where I've talked about my struggle with my mom, and it was such a source of pain for me. And I kept trying to make sense of things that could not be made sense of. And but I didn't know it at the time. It was just beyond frustrating. And I remember reading this quote about, it said, "Thank you for being my teacher of what not to do." And when I read that, I was like, holy shit. like, thank you for being my teacher on how not to be calm, how not to be peaceful, how not to be. And for some reason, that just stuck with me so deeply, about being grateful for the things that you learn not to do. Like, there's gratitude in that. And it just totally shifted my perspective. And then it made me focus the spotlight on myself in terms of what I can and cannot do, instead of, like we've been talking about, like, woe is me and how come she doesn't understand me, and kind of playing the victim card, and just, I don't know. It's like, it really is a very huge shift in perspective.
That is so powerful, that quote, because think of all the people in our life who we have rackets about and complain about and who annoy us and upset us. I mean, and if we just read that quote or looked at it in that way, we can be grateful for each and every one for teaching us something, because they're all here to teach us something.
Right.
Maybe it's, maybe it's how not to allow yourself to be treated, standing up for yourself, using your voice. Maybe it's to, show you what not to do. Whatever it is, there's a reason, and it just makes you see the other side of, like,
Yeah. And it also allows you to put boundaries down, right? Because if, like, you're my teacher of what not to do, then I have to shift my, how I interact with you. And so you start to put, and we were just talking before about discipline, and how gratitude is kind of a discipline practice too. When you keep uncovering layers of awareness of different concepts, it just adds to your own yumminess. It's like, it's strengthening yourself. So putting the boundaries down, from that concept we just talked about, is really important. And I have done that in my life with certain people that have not served me very well, that I keep trying to change, and I keep trying to get them to see the light, and all of this codependent behavior, when really the truth is that they are a mirror for me. I need to be grateful to that, to allow me to change myself and make myself more peaceful and more content. That's really what they're there for, if you look at it that way.
And gratitude, really, practicing gratitude really just helps you enjoy your life more.
Mm-hmm.
It just brings you to a happier place, whether it's, very subtle, or like what happened to you, Shara, where it was like, for me, I feel like gratitude is, I had that moment with my skin where I one day was found myself teaching about it, like teaching about skin, teaching about food and healing and what worked for me. And then I just looked at that. I just was able to look at the fact that I was taking this thing that was so terrible that was happening to me, that I was able to now take it and help someone because of it. And seeing that, just, that's what really made me feel the most grateful in that moment for what I was going through. And I think that's happens often, where people go through something really terrible, whether it's something with an illness or a death or a loss of some kind, or, you know, a terrible experience or whatever. And they, you know, are able to take that and help someone because of it. And it really just helps you shift your perspective, because gratitude is really just a shift in perspective, right?
Yeah. Well, another really big thing that I know is, as I think you addressed earlier, Shira, like gratitude is a hot new word, right? So, and it has been for a while. And like, there's so many preachers out there that are trying to help people with have gratitude, do this to have gratitude. And it's like
Gratitude journals. Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, and I just look at it and I go, okay, there's people out there who practice gratitude, but is it authentic? Like, I have come across so many people that like will throw the gratitude around. I'm so grateful this, and even like with this Corona thing that's going on, right? Like when we were all locked in our houses, notice how many people would be online and be on Skypes and be on, you know, phone calls and just be saying, I'm just so grateful that I have my family and I have this and I have, you know, and then now we're allowed out of our houses. And like, are those people still grateful? Because I know a lot of them that are not, you know? So it's kind of sort of like being grateful for me is a really authentic, like, practice, pretty much. Like you're grateful every single minute of every day. Like you can't, and you know, we're human, so we are going to be like, I hate this, or that person is awful, or like, why did that have to happen to us? Like it happens, I guess, once in a while, but I guess it's the authenticness of really, truly being grateful and meaning it. Like,
well, I think it's also, it goes so much deeper than just saying, oh, I'm grateful for this. It's like, you know, Taris, what I'm hearing from you, because I mean, I know, you know, it's not possible to be grateful every minute of every day. You know, like you said, we're human. But it's just having that awareness that that is a better way to live, that that's a better lifestyle, happier, more joyful. You know, you'll attract more positive things in your life, what you're grateful for, you'll see more of that in your life. And I think people who really create a practice for themselves, who dig deep into the work and do the work daily, even if it's for 5 minutes or an hour or whatever, I think those are the people who really benefit the most, because they're seeing the change in their life. Like life is just better. Like everything looks more beautiful because you're seeing it through a different lens.
yeah.
You know?
Well, I think that like the whole shift thing is super important. Like, I think that for real authentic gratitude, there has to be a really big shift.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I wanted to say that I'm sorry, T, did I interrupt you?
Nope.
One of the things that I've learned to do, and this is like, you know, they say older and wiser, right? Because we're older, but we're also like, oh, I have these shifts and I have a different perspective. And I find that when things are not going well in my life, if something's just continuously or chronically a problem, during my meditation, I will literally ask the question, is there something that's happening right now that I can be grateful for? And then I just don't need to get the answer right now. Just put it out there, ask it, contemplate it, let it go. And then a lot of times, something will all of a sudden hit you at the most bizarre times, right? You could just be like hanging out with a friend or like writing a thing, and all of a sudden you're like, oh. Like you don't have to have the answer right away. You have to just let it go, but you have to continuously inquire. You have to be genuinely curious. Is there something in this really shitty situation that I can be grateful for? And then just like,
And then you have to be willing to accept it no matter what it is. Even if it's a really not something that you wanted, because that has happened to me.
Right.
You know, it's so,
Yeah.
so I feel like I really need to hear right now, specifically today, what you guys are both saying. Like this
You're
conversation
welcome.
is for me. No, because the past few weeks I've actually
Kim.
the past few weeks I've been really struggling with something work related, and it's been stressing me out to the point where I just feel like I've sort of lost my gratitude because I'm lost in the stress and the overwhelm. And I've been asking the universe for clarity on things. I've been just, like you said, Shira, consciously focused on asking and, asking for guidance and wanting to, receive some type of,
Clarity.
yeah, just the clarity, I guess. But the clarity also on, that's a great question that you just posed, Shira. I just realized, like, I haven't asked, what can I be grateful for in this situation? Because I'm learning now in this situation, there is a lot to be grateful for. I have people in the situation who are like more than willing to help me and want to see me happy. I have an amazing husband who's been very supportive. I have a sister that gives me a great, amazing advice. There's so much in the situation, even though I can't figure it fully out right now. And it's, I'm not fully happy in my situation. There's still so much to be grateful for. So you guys are actually reminding me of that. And so that's a wonderful thing for people to just be reminded of. We always need reminding. We always need refreshing.
Yeah. Oh my God.
It's so interesting because like I'm thinking of Juji right now, and like remember like I had a meltdown a couple of weeks ago and I'm like, oh, what's going on? Like the world is awful and everything is and Juji's like, it's the stars, it's the moon, it's the energy, it's the universe. I'm like, what are you talking about? And she's like, everybody's going through it. So like I kind of sort of miss her little perspective right now because she has like this universal power, thought process that happens like with all of that stuff, which I think is super interesting how it impacts our lives. And I don't know how true all that stuff is because I don't study it, but
yeah. Well, I mean, knowing that we're not alone in whatever we're talking about ever is a helpful thing, right? It's just helpful to know. A lot of times you just think we're like on our own with all of this stuff. And it's like, yeah, no, everybody kind of has it to some degree or another. It's just who we are.
Yeah, absolutely. There's something that I wanted to mention. There's this woman named Marissa Peer who is a therapist in the UK, and she's like a renowned therapist, and she has a lot of things on YouTube. I'll actually put her information below if people are interested in looking her up. She has some really amazing videos and books and stuff. And she studies the brain, and in her studies, she really explains very thoroughly how the brain works and how if there's something that you don't want to do or you're struggling with or whatever, that is all your brain just basically takes its cues. Like it basically, your brain runs the show. So your brain will take that information that you're feeling, and it will come up with every way, shape, or form, every excuse, every reason for you to procrastinate, not get that thing done, whatever. You might get sick, so you can't do it. You might, decide to talk to a friend and watch TV, and all of a sudden you're like, see, I knew I couldn't get that thing done. Like just how your brain works to really, however you feel, it takes that and kind of goes running. And it's so fascinating because it really taught me, like reading her studies, it really taught me and showed me that if we really consciously focus our minds to think more positively, to focus on gratitude, go out of our way to do things, practices, say things, watch the words that come out of our mouth, the thoughts that we're thinking, whatever it is, journaling, saying things to yourself positively before you go to bed, whatever it is that works for you, that slowly, you're focusing your mind, you're forcing your mind to focus on the more positive, things. And the more you do that, the more your brain will help you like achieve all of these things that you want in life. It's really just so fascinating.
It is amazing the power of focus and the power of our minds, because we, like, sometimes I just stop and I just look around, you know, and I think about, oh, I'm looking at my refrigerator. I have food to eat. Thank you. I have a bed to sleep in. Thank you. I have a job to go to. Thank you. I have you guys. Thank you. Like, it's just whatever you focus on just becomes bigger. And it's that shift, but it's a discipline and it's hard. But if you do it consistently, don't we say that word all the time? Consistency, it's like key. That's the most important thing to do. So that's my pearl of wisdom, because I think we're going around the table here with our pearls.
Well, just to add to that, Shira, and I just want to say that that's brilliant, because how many people do that every day? I don't look at my computer and go, oh, I have a new laptop. Thank you. Like,
this is why we have to teach this stuff when kids are young. We have to teach all the good stuff, right? We teach our children so much things, so many facts, tell them stories. It's like, teach them the life skills. Why are we not teaching that to them when they're young? Perspective, gratitude, resilience, resourcefulness, just communication. All right, I'll get up the soapbox now.
My sister, every night at dinner, she has 2 toddlers, and every night at dinner, her and her husband go around the table, and it's like your meditation, Shira. It's an every night thing. And they have to first they have to say something good that happened in their day, and then they have to say something bad that happened in their day, because yin yang, that's part of life. And then they have to tell a joke. And no joke, every time I go over there and I eat with them, or I'm there when they're eating or something, they call me Aunt KK, and they're so Aunt KK, you go first. What's one good thing, one bad thing? You know, it's so adorable. And
oh my
I
God.
love that. Exactly. It's like teaching it when they're young. Yeah, for sure.
I love that.
And I'm just going to share one last thing that I heard from one motivational speaker. I can't remember who it was because I listened to so many, but they were saying, I think it might have been Hal Elrod, but anyways, that once a week, write a letter to someone, just a gratitude letter, and send it out, like an old authentic letter envelope stamp, and send it out once a week. And like, that is like life-changing, you know, just to feel, because you have it on 2 parts, right? When you're writing it, and then when they actually get it and they call you, you know? So I thought that was super cool. I was like, oh my God, I have to do that.
And, you know, I know for me personally, I just know I won't make time to sit and write a letter. I love that, because I know how powerful writing can be. Like, something magical happens when you actually write it down on paper.
Yeah.
But I just want to add to that, Taris, that I do go out of my way to even just send someone a text or an email, just even to say, hey, thinking of you today. You're amazing. I love you. Have a great day. And it, like, not just changes their day and their moment, but it changes mine. It makes me feel good, you know?
Yeah. I try to do that with all of my clients. Like, I'll always pick one client, like, you know, every couple of days, and just like send them a little message, thinking about you, you got this, your journey, blah, 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 whatever.
I love it. Well, I'm so grateful for you, ladies. And I think that's a great place.
We're also grateful for each other.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think that's a great place to wrap it up. If you love our conversations, please click like and subscribe to our channel. Tell a friend, spread the word. And please also let us know if you have any comments or questions, or if there's a topic that you'd like to request. And we'll see you soon. Stay safe, everybody.
Bye.
Ciao.